When I bought my ranch, there was a creek that ran across one of the roads, and I asked the seller to bulldoze a low water crossing so that I could drive across it. But then, as the creek washed out the road again, it left a giant hole with some tree trunks lying in it. And then the creek would fill up with water, and the entire road became impassable again. The large hole and the tree trunk lying in it just made it impossible to do anything except walk across. So today I got a dump truck full of gravel to come out and unload half of the gravel up higher up on the bank that I could use later, and unload the other half of the gravel, about 3-inch size rock, down right into the creek, so that I could make my own low water crossing, fill up the hole, and then create a gravel crossing that would allow me to drive across with my tractor or with my 4x4, and finally get access to the whole western portion of my forest. So after the gravel was poured, I came along with my little Kubota B2920 tractor and used the loader to spread the 3-inch rock all down into the hole and create a flat surface on top that would allow me to drive across it with my vehicles. This is my first tractor and my first attempt to operate a loader, and it's like everything else, requires a little bit of a learning curve to get the hang of all the different directions that this loader can go and that the bucket can go. So it takes a little bit of practice to get it all working right. I'm being extra cautious here, not only because this is a brand new tractor and I've never driven one before and I've never used a loader before, but also because I'm out here all by myself, and my biggest fear is that I'm going to roll this tractor over into the creek and there won't be anybody to find me. A study of game camera footage showed that a lot of creatures used this creek crossing. Deer, bobcats, skunks, nutrias, raccoons, coyotes, all sorts of animals. And after smoothing it out with the loader, I drove back and forth across it a few times just to make sure that it would take the load of the tractor and to kind of smooth things out a little bit, using the weight of the tractor to press the gravel down into all of the little holes and things down in the creek bottom, and to make it flat enough so that when the water does start flowing again, that this creek crossing will not act as any kind of a dam, but will rather allow the water to flow across it and continue on down the creek. Later on, I will dump some more gravel up on the slopes of the road so that the water, when it runs around this gravel pile, will basically not try to run around it and wash away dirt, but rather will just flow across the gravel and then on down through the creek. And once I got all of that done, I drove on across, proved to myself that it was passable with a tractor. Now, one of the important reasons for getting across the creek over onto the western side was to be able to have access using one of my 4x4s to the western half, which contains the new area that I'm calling Bed and Breakfast, which is where I'm going to be setting up a automatic corn feeder, a camera, and some other attractants that will bring the hogs up from the southern side where they've been hanging out in the creek and where they have their bedding areas. But right now there's a lot of debris on the little trail, and it would be impossible for a vehicle to drive down to the Bed and Breakfast to carry some of the heavy equipment without running into logs and tree branches and things like that. So I had to clear those out of the way too. And then later on drove my Toyota FJ Cruiser over to the other side and started transporting feeders and corn and cameras and all kinds of things over there. Here I am coming back across. The area that I'm on right now I have never been able to visit with any kind of a vehicle, so this was my first coming back from the western half of my forest. And I've got plenty of clearance to get across. I'm a happy camper.